Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. This time is the SH Figuarts Endgame Thor from Avengers the Endgame. So, let's get started. Everyone knows that this was a Tamashii web shop piece. It's not available technically in America. The only way to get it is through Japanese web resellers and things like that. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Anyway, let's jump into the actual toy. That stuff is irrelevant. Now, what's really cool about this is that they actually made a bigger body for Thor, as you can see here. Even in his nicely dressed up armor, you can still see his bulge and his brand new weight added on special areas. I really like the fact that they took time to correct an issue previously by not adding the brown and blue eyes. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to try to get in there with some light and zoom in to show you guys. There we go. One brown, one blue. The proper way that it should be, and if you want accuracy, that's what you'll get. But I like the fact that they took time to fix that on the previous one that we didn't get. But besides that, I think overall this is a good look. If you are a Marvel completionist for SHF, this is probably going to be a piece you really like. While it makes some improvements over the previous Infinity War Thor, it does still technically give you a new mold. It looks very similar to the old one, but when I compare it to the old one, you'll see what's brand new. But first off, let's do my favorite part where we jump into articulation. Now, we have our Thor head with hair. It can look left and look right. The hair is soft, and I like the fact that they did that. It allows you to give you mobility. You can look down, and you can even look up with your with your Thor head, and allows you to get some mobility. Now, you can kind of tilt it, even with the beard being somewhat soft here at the bottom ponytail, but you got to be careful because it is not that soft. So just keep in mind, the cape does not have a wire in it, although it really is a nice fabric cape. So keep in mind that for those of you that customize, you're going to have to wire this. Looks very nice, and it is a tad bit bigger than the previous one. Now, on as far as our arms go, we have our butterfly joint. Now, our butterfly joint goes more backwards now than it does go forward, so keep that in mind. I tried twisting it a little bit inward, but it just won't budge. So, then we have our secret bicep swivel, which actually rotates on a joint inside. This one functions better on this Thor than it does on stuff like the Spider-Man figure, because I know everybody has a lot of issues with that. But because this is a bigger joint, it definitely works a lot better. These are actually the same joints used on the WWE wrestling figures, so keep that in mind. Then we have our rotating joint here. Now this one is on a single joint. It folds in greater than that of a 90-degree angle. Probably gets about 75 degrees. Then it can actually slide in and slide up, so that way you can cross it up and down. So then we have our standard SHF peg, which actually rotates all the way around, up and down on a ball joint. Now, as far as the rest of the upper torso goes, you get movement going to the left and to the right and a little bit tucking forward. So let's say you want to throw a punch. It's definitely going to be possible, but with Thor's stomach, you got to keep that kind of stuff in mind. And going backwards, as we try, you can't really go too far backwards. So almost little to no movement going backwards. Now, as far as the lower waist goes, our lower waist actually gets a nice bit of range of movement that actually lets you add on to your upper torso's range of movement, as you can see here. So, I guess that's still a thing. Now, I didn't expect this to happen. Now, popping the joint out is very easy. Just make sure that it's a safety precaution. But obviously, if you're moving the joint too fast or using too much force, I popped it out like I did. Now, back to the torso. So back here, I'm having a little bit of a thing that I'm noticing is that, so this can cause paint rub right along here. So depending on how you rotate that joint, you see how I can scrape up against each other. What you might want to do is tuck that in. Voila. Gives you that better range. So again, when throwing your punches, it has a better range of motion. As far as the legs go, we use the old school drop down method here. They give you these nice big bulky legs. You have a secret thigh swivel, which is actually a pretty huge gap here. So it's going to be pretty ugly for you guys that like aesthetics. Me, I don't mind it so much, but I know some of you will. And this allows you to get your leg to go forward. It's on a double joint. And we still have our very generous SHF ankle articulation. Now, the thing is, mine's are a little tight, so I may drop some silicone shock oil in there to loosen it up. But overall, pretty nice. Goes backwards and forwards too as well, and you get toe pivot. So, now that we've covered our articulation on all our bases, let's get Thor to get posed up, nice and ready. Make him look good for the people. Put your dukes up. Bar fight Thor. That's what I'm going to call him. This is your boy Bar fight Thor. He's ready to throw down with just about any and everyone. Now, with Bar fight Thor, we have a nice bit of accessories. So you get Mjolnir. And this can still be replaced by just swapping the heads when you want to put, well, swapping the hammer head, I should say, when you want to put any hand through it. And I'll show you that in a second. Then you also get Stormbreaker. Very nice. I've always loved this hammer. It's one of my favorites. I'm glad they did this one. I wish they would have gave it to Beta Ray Bill, but we'll talk about that later. Then we have our relaxed hands that you get with Thor. Then you have your action open palms. You get 2 of these as well. These for if you want to call the hammers, make them look cool when you're calling them, things like that. Then you have your Mjolnir hands. And these ones are more closed. Now, if you try to put Stormbreaker in there, obviously that can't happen. There's no way to do that. So with Mjolnir, or, as they call it, Meow Meow, here you go. And it just plugs right in. Voila. So you don't have too much of an issue just using it. Then you have your Stormbreaker hands, which you get 2 of, and you just place it right in. And it goes up and down. You can use it for whatever. You actually get 2 of these as well. So you can have fun with that. Now, I actually like this Thor a lot. Now, one thing I want to keep in mind that I want to try to do a head swap and see how it looks on the Infinity War body. So what I am going to do is I'm going to bring the Infinity War one out, right? You'll see the body here. And then we have my man, Bar Fight Thor. Now, with Bar Fight Thor, the thing I've noticed is that the black is much richer. You actually have a brand new color scheme. It's a much richer, darker black, and the grays are actually way more popping and way more detailed. And I really like that. They took the time to fix their mistakes. Even though I still like this one a lot, I really like this one body-wise. And I think they've also gotten rid of the collar as well. Oh, no, the collar's still there. Just doesn't look as good. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pop this off. And as you can see, there is a soft plastic hair that allows you to bend down. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to swap these heads and see if it works real fast. I just want to see if it's going to work. I'm very curious. Let's actually take this off because his neck seems a little bit bigger on this one. So we're going to see how this looks on there. So with the neck creeping forward, it looks kind of okay. But as you can see here, it's very difficult to kind of just get that head to just sit on there. Now, we're going to try it on this one, see how it looks. Come on. Let's sit down. There we go. So the head kind of fits pretty low. So what you'll have to do if you want them to look really good, you'll actually have to switch the pegs inside to make it work out. Because you want his head to sit a little higher, considering where his beard is. And it won't get in the way of the hair. This one as well, too. If you want it to sit a little lower and actually look straight, you're going to have to switch those inner pegs. So that's what you need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this back on. I'm going to put his hair back on. And then now we're going to jump into size comparisons. So we square them up with a bunch of other figures. Because we've already seen them with Infinity War Thor, right? But let's do it one more time for those of you that are skipping around on the video and don't know where you're going. So here he is with his 5 years ago previous self. Let's actually stand him a little better. I can do better, right? Voila, there we go. So as you can see, body-wise, he actually looks a lot wider as well, too. The arms are a bit bigger and the stature. So, and his legs are a little further apart, but as you can see here, they're just about the same height-wise. Now, when you compare him up to his previous versions of himself, so let's do some other ones. Here he is with Age of Ultron self. Oop. And here he is with his Ragnarok self. These are all the SHF forms outside of Infinity War. I don't know how I did that, but I did. So, voila. We've come a long way. I'm actually going to leave that back there till the end of the video. Next up, we're going to compare him next to Iron Man, the Mark 85, and the SH Figuarts Endgame cap. So that way you have your Trinity. And there we go. See, Iron Man is a bit taller. Obviously, the man in the suit of armor. Cap's pretty tall, but they all look really good, about the same height. Next up, you have Doctor Strange and Hawkeye. My Doctor Strange head is a custom done by Old Boy, for those of you that are going to ask. And then we have Hawkeye. Next up, we're going to do Captain Marvel. And voila. I think it's all look pretty good. I mean, I'm not sure how the heights are supposed to work up. Because at this point, you know, Tony Stark's in heels and you just never know. But I think they look good size-wise. Next up, we're going to do SH Figuarts Iron Spider, as well as the Mafex Iron Spider. So you can see how they look size-wise. Pretty good, pretty good. Now we're going to do some other, oh, actually, not true. One last SHF one, which is going to be Hulk, his Infinity War version. And then we have Hulk Endgame version. So voila. Now we're going to do it with some other lines, see how they stack up. First up is SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Kuga. Then we have a Lightning Collection Red Ranger. We'll do an Articulated Icons Ninja. Doop, doop. Oop, still fell. I don't know what I'm doing wrong today. Everything's falling. Then we have a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. Voila. I think Spider-Man is 6-inch. Hasbro's obviously 6-inch. But even with other SHF, I think it looks a little better. Articulated Icons usually fits in just good without everything. Most things, I should say. Oop. Next up, we have a 1000 toy synthetic human. A Mythic Legions Ortho. As you can see, Mythic Legions is much bigger. Next up, we're going to do a Mezco, which is a Mezco version of me on a Gomez body. And this is the Stealth Ops body for Gomez. And then we're going to do a NECA Predator, just to show you in case you want to do some really cool crossover stuff, how these guys stack up. Voila. Now, last but not least, the one last thing I want to show you in the size comparison is going to be a Mythic Legions Ogre. And this is a much bigger class of Mythic Legions, but I think for the lore and the culture, this guy actually fits in really well for what you're going to do with Thor. So, voila. Now you can see what these guys look like. Has a nice scale. All in all, I like the figure, but I know if you are not a completionist, this may not be for you. Or if you love the movie, you may want to collect this figure. The problem is it's been a web shop, so it makes it difficult to get for those of you that are not going to go through resellers. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, I hope this helps you in picking out your toy. I hope you find it informative, guys. And as always, be good, do good, drink your water, guys. Later. Hey guys, one of the things I forgot to show you, and I had it right here next to me, was Thanos with Thor. Don't know how I forgot, but I ended up doing it. So here he is next to him. Now you get a quick look. I'll add it in at the end of the video, obviously. Thanks as always. Later.